Ceci, I just want to ask in relation to foreign policy. People come to our country under the auspice of asylum seeking. They open spaza shops, sell fake goods to our vulnerable communities. What is the EFF stance in relation to that?
Okay, thanks, Dolo. Nice and short.
Well, we don't agree with fake and expired food. That's the bottom line. And we, as the EFF, from time to time at the branch level, we go visit the shops to check the expiry dates and all of that. My problem is that we now associate fake food and expired food exclusively to those ones who are found in the villages and in the township, as if those are the people who can sell such things. And SPAR, I said this publicly many times, they've never challenged me. SPAR sells expired food. But because it's white-owned, no one speaks about that. It's like, no, expired food is associated with these ones and all of that. South Africa has got a right to protect its own economy, including small businesses and all of that. We must not avail our own properties to these people and then complain after that these people have come to open spaza shops, because none of these people has forced anyone. Actually, in front of my grandmother's house, one of them is there. He was in a shop that we grew up. That shop was there. Then I don't know what happened. They fought. Then he went next door. If you look at the design of their shops, are the same, and the color, they are colorful. And people say, these people come here and do this. But my question is, you guys give them the space to do what they are doing. And then you come back to complain. Our foreign policy, especially with the African continent, is that this continent is one. It has always been one. And you can't say, I don't like apartheid, I don't like colonialism, but I support borders. The borders were imposed on us by the colonialists during the scramble for Africa. And therefore, in undoing the work of colonialism, the borders have to be done away with. And you can't say, when you do away with the borders, these people are going to come into South Africa because they are starving where they are. We are starving in Limpopo. There's no border between us and Gauteng. But we have not left our homes there, and the Limpopo is peopleless because they went to Gauteng where there are resources, and because there is no border, they are flocking there. No one will ever abandon their countries to come here. All we are doing is, my sister, if you want to go to Nigeria to go and try some business opportunities or anything of that sort, wake up in the morning and go. Why are the Europeans allowed to do it? They eat breakfast in Milan, in Italy, and go and sleep in Paris without a hassle. And we are not allowed because the unity of Africa is a threat to certain people. There is no, and I say this all the time, they say, no, these foreigners take our jobs and all of that. I say, if we find a foreigner working here at Kaya FM, he didn't employ himself. He was employed by the bosses here. So you cannot fight this one. You have to fight the bosses that we must be given a preference, which we agree with. But let's not allow them to make us fight amongst ourselves, because they enjoy that. They hire foreigners and then they come to you and say, you can't get jobs because foreigners have taken jobs all over. But who employs these people? It's the same people who are saying foreigners have taken jobs.
Mr. Malema, let's talk about the elections, the upcoming elections. Of course, you would like to win 50 plus 1. Of course, that's what you would like to get. Many say the same thing. No poll says that there will be one majority. That's not to say polls are always right. That's not to say that. But what would be your second best option? What would be the best case scenario outside of winning the majority?
Well, the best option is that you go into a coalition.
Yes.
So once the voters don't give anyone a decisive majority, they are saying to you, it's a loud whispering, you guys have to work together. So we have to navigate it through principles. And not only principles, but the kind of leadership and leadership you are bringing to the fore. And I was giving an example this morning that if I had to bring in Ndlozi and say, we're going to coalition with the ANC in Gauteng, We want premiership, yes, in Ndlozi. The NC says we want premiership, yes, Lesotho. And then I leave it to you, the voters, and say, okay, look at the two. Nowhere does Lesotho come close, not only in looks, in everything, in all respect, close to Ndlozi. Ndlozi is one guy who was favored by God. He's got the brains, the lady says he's got the looks, I don't know that. And then he's got humility, he's got a voice to sing. I've never seen everything in one person. That's the kind of people who are giving you. And you'll have to make a decision. But the other thing, which every time people say, oh, Ndlozi, they jump to me. So I know there's going to be the last statement which is going to be made. They say, but you are too short. That's very important. So now so I bring this, and then you bring Panyaza, who goes around faking jobs, faking letters, creating an impression, is giving people jobs and calling people. Even apartheid never did that. Will come and collect your appointment letter, come and display your poverty at Orlando Stadium, and then we must give you a letter that from now onwards you are employed. When I made that application for my dignity, I did it alone. I was not in a stadium. You gave me an email address, I made my application, gave me the address, I put in the envelope, I came there. So now why must I be announced?
So you speak of principles guiding how you're going to negotiate.
Yes.
Let us say in the event that you get very close, and the ANC says, look, let's talk. You've said yourself, in politics, no friends forever, no enemies forever. These things can be negotiated,
right? We talk to everyone. We talk to DA.
And I'll come to that scenario. I'll come to that. You are, for now, the enemy number one, but maybe it won't be for long.
Absolutely,
who knows? Politics. Yeah. In the scenario where the ANC does come and say, let's talk after the elections, let's talk, we can do this, right? And their candidate remains Cyril Ramaphosa as the president, would that be a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely. Cyril, you guys must get someone who, with courage, to just do a documentary about Cyril. Cyril didn't attend Mandela's inauguration because he was angry at Nelson for not putting him as a deputy president. Because the Oppenheimers have been touting him that he will be Mandela's deputy president. Cyril has been self-seeking, and he has been saving the Oppenheimer and the Minel family and all of them with loyalty, not now. From the 70s. From the 70s, Cyril has been working with these people. Cyril went to establish a new NUM, a union of mine workers without being a mine worker. Cyril has never been a mine worker. Cyril has never been underground a mine. He went to school to do law. When he came back, he served as a legal officer in the Oppenheimer family. Then there was a commission of investigating black workers' conditions or something like that, which came with recommendation that unions of black workers must be recognized. Upon realizing, the Oppenheimers, that now these people are going to be recognized, they're going to cause a problem, sponsored the formation of the NUM. For some reason, he found himself in the UDF, then in the reception committee of Nelson Mandela. So when Mandela walks out of Portsmouth prison, you must look at that video. You don't know whether Cyril is a bodyguard or what, but he's there giving the car direction. By the wall is the one who's holding the mic. This guy is infiltrating Nelson. When Nelson arrives, sleeps one night in Soweto, and then comes to Johannesburg. With which money? From where? And then he stays in the Minel's family house. Now, the Minel are one of the big mining families in South Africa. So when you say he stayed in Minel's family house, you're thinking, oh, maybe it's a complex. Same house. He meets Minel's children on the passage wearing gowns. Minel's child, when Mandela passed on, said, we used to see the names we see on TV at our house because these people used to come there and meet Nelson. He moves from Minel, he goes to Sexen Hotel. He moves from Sexen Hotel, he goes to Houghton. We who have been working, we have now been to prison. When we buy houses ourselves, we get question, how can Malema buy a house in Sandton? Mandela bought a house in Gauteng. With which money? Where did Mandela get money to buy the house? This one, Cyril, was at the center of compromising Nelson. So if there is anything that white establishment and the Oppenheimers in particular have on us, is Cyril Ramaphosa.
So then, would Paul Mashatile be a better candidate for you?
Well, it's not a better candidate. It is
more acceptable?
No, it is the ANC to make that decision. But Cyril's relationship to what we have now as a country, as a problem, he's deep-rooted into it. The Oppenheimers are forming a political party every day in South Africa just to upset the system, because in their reading of situation, they like the EFF is going to emerge and pass the DA and merged with the ANC. They've got a majority. It's undesirable. They write there in their website that no, this is not it's not a desirable situation. So what do? Let's fragment the black vote. What are the things that you look at in financing Rise Mzansi? Because that guy has got no history of mobilization of anything except being an editor of a newspaper. You give such a person 50 million and you say, no, it's donation. It's not donation. It's a formation of a political party. And then there is that lady who was a speaker here in Johannesburg.
Sarah.
Motuno Anansanur is doing Sarah. We wake up in the morning, Sarah has got posters. Correct poster. It's very expensive. Where did she get the money? She was struggling here with us in Johannesburg. Then you've got Herman Masham with no idea what he's doing. He gets given 15 million, every 20 million. All these monies of different political parties, including the DA, come from one family. And then this family just divided around their individual granddaughters, the daughters, and then they distribute it as if it's their individual money, but it's one family. Why? The Oppenheimers are the people who formed the political system in South Africa. Actually, the Oppenheimers were members of parliament when parliament started in South Africa. So this was designed by, all of this that we found was designed by them. Then they took a decision to get out and to do business. Now they feel they must still control a political space. At the center of that is Cyril. Whatever happens, Cyril must continue this. All the problems we had, Guptas and all of that, that's fine. Cyril wins to be a president of the ANC. Everybody who had a BEE deal, which has nothing to do with Zuma, has got nothing to do with Oppenheimers, on the basis of what you are bringing to the table, you have been accepted in whatever company you may think of. When this guy came, all those guys were dismissed. Today is very difficult to find a black African millionaire, because if they had a stake in this coal company which was supplying Eskom with coal, they are taken out. Why? We don't need you. We've got the president. The president is on a speed dial. And then you want to subject us to that another 5 years of that suffering. And I don't understand why these guys don't take him on the basis of facts. Because these people were there. They know the facts. Tara says we leave Teflop together. We go to join Steve Biko in the fight for freedom. Me and this guy were together in everything we're doing. There was a law of common purpose. We are arrested under the law of common purpose. Alone, I'm found guilty, sent to Robben Island. And then this one goes home. And when he goes home, I discover he wrote a letter that I'm the one who instilled communist ideas in his head. Cyril's father was a policeman. And when Cyril was in solitary confinement, the father had access to him. And in solitary confinement, it's precisely exactly that. No one must visit you. So we isolate you to break you. And there's no way you are in solitary confinement. Your father comes, he's a policeman. He says, tell them, my guy. You tell them we walk home. I'm here. And that's the only person you hear. You don't hear any other alternative perspective. With our eyes open, this is the guy you must go into a coalition and say, no, we can sign. The ANC will deal with it. I don't think it will be the right thing to do. We need to rescue South Africa from the Oppenheimers. All of this, at the center of it, is the Oppenheimers, and they have to be confronted about it, because they will never allow the economy of this country to be in the hands of black people. I mean, we're told of Patrice Motsepe, he's a very good brother of mine, but I was asking someone the other day, Patrice Motsepe is produced millionaire, or what, billionaire, whatever. But I've been to many beautiful events where people are honored and all. I've never had a single black person say, I am what I am because of Patrice. He made me a millionaire. How can we make a billionaire African black person who knows our suffering, and that person doesn't empower others? If he really has, I mean, Patrice has got a good heart. He's a good guy. He supports our sports and all of that. With that kind of heart, there's no way this guy will not have taken this money and given to some of you to get empowered. He can't. He doesn't have that kind of money. He's sitting there as a comprador bourgeoisie who manage the affairs of the ruling elite. And we are being fooled that, no, you've got your own, there's no problem. So the Oppenheimers do exactly that to us, co-opt some amongst us and then put them there to create an impression, no, you are here. So it's a deal breaker.
Okay.
Hello,
Onika. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Mr. Malema.
Morning. Good evening.
Good evening, my question is, in South Africa, we've got the working class, okay? Mm-hmm. And then we've got some of us who are called the missing middle, whereby we are somewhere in between. I do not qualify to get an RDP house, and my salary is too little for me to get a bond house from the bank. Now, I want to know if I take my vote and give it to the EFF, how will the EFF help some of us who are stuck in that dilemma of being stuck with this being called the so-called the missing middle? And my second question is in regards to education. I've got kids here in the house. They're supposed to be going to varsity. They are unable to go to varsity. One is supposed to go and do her third year. She can't go. She's at NMU. When I'm sitting with her here during the day and we go to the NMU website of Facebook, the EFF Student Command is the one that is in charge there. What I see there, I do not like. I'm not sure if you have seen it. Those kids, they go on trips. They went to Durban the last time. Right now, today, when I went to the page, they bought loads and loads of alcohol. They are busy partying. Whereas second year, third year, and fourth year students are stuck. They are not being registered, and NSFAS is rejecting them.
Thank you, May. Thank you, Onika.
Thank you very much. I think you can be rest assured, Mama, that if you bring those kids, where did she call from?
Springs.
And I think maybe the producers may be able to collect her contacts. Yeah. Those kids will go to school. And the things you raised about the student command, if it is, they will be followed up tonight to ensure that the things you are speaking about are dealt with decisively. We have, in this year alone, not helped less than 100,000 students who were qualifying academically, and their parents could not afford. And it is our business, and it's the business of the student command to make sure that any qualifying student is not disallowed to enter the premises because they are owing or they don't have money to pay. We have resolved this in many universities where we're in charge. And the NUM, I'm happy it was brought to our attention. And I can tell you, those kids, they will go to school. The state bank I spoke about was exactly to deal with a missing middle. That you've got a missing middle. They don't qualify for NSFAS. They don't qualify for RDP. They are excluded. There has to be some financial institution that takes that into consideration, that these people have got an income and their credit record shows that they are paying people. They don't have such history of not paying. And those who have a history of not paying, they have been rehabilitated and therefore they must be reintegrated into the economy. So the EFF, when we take over, we're going to make sure that state banks deals exactly with that, with the missing middle.
Let's talk a little bit about crime. Everybody wants to talk about crime in this country, and I don't think money buys you safety anymore here. And we understand the relationship we now have with the police. It's not good. It's not good. We've seen how they sometimes treat people who are protesting and so on. Your suggestions in how you're going to manage, number one, just how the police themselves relate to us, and on secondly, the element of crime.
Well, the police, the role of the police is not to prevent crime.
Yes.
Is to come after crime has been committed. So we need to empower our people economically and give them jobs and get them into education and give them sports facilities. Because most of these kids, you say to them, why are you on Nyaupe? They're like, okay, Rodman, give us an alternative. Where can we go? Because like she was saying, I was supposed to go back to school. They excluded me on the basis of finance. I went to look for a job. If I'm not politically connected, I can't get employment. So I've got no any other option to smoke Nyaupe. And there's no money to buy Nyaupe. Now you must go and steal and buy Nyaupe. So we need to empower people. And secondly, we need to have the category of crimes that you can't pardon. So when you point a policeman with a firearm, you must go to jail for a very long time. When you kill a law enforcement officer, you must go to jail, no pardon, because we believe once we protect the police, they too will feel, because who protect the people who are protecting us? We, as government and the communities, need to protect the police. But police don't get rewarded. Now we're told minister is going to make big announcement on a big case and all of that. The police who have made those inroads, will they get a bonus? Because this was a big case, complicated case, so that you inspire more other police to go and do the right thing. The other thing is that crime intelligence no longer pays informers. You go and report. You know, there was a gangster that was shot in Venda, in Louis Trichardt, if not Toyando, in some big mansion. A lot of guys inside there planning cash in transit haste. 3 weeks before that, there were cash in transit in Venda everywhere. Someone went to inform the police that these people are doing this. This is where they are. We go and kill such dangerous criminals and give the person who saved the country multi-millions 500 rand as an informer. How are these people going to now keep us informed of these criminal activities? We need to reward people who report criminals, and that leads to a successful prosecution or arrest. And we need to reward equally investigating officers, because the other thing is we arrest and all the investigating officer messes up the case through investigation, and then they say there's not enough evidence. So we need to reward that. We need to reward the prosecutors who successfully prosecute complicated criminal activities, and through that we know that these people will be motivated. So, but the last point I need to make is that we should not have police who are scared to kill dangerous criminals. That police who are scared of criminals, so if police are scared of criminals, what about us? Police must know and must tell a criminal, you try nonsense with us, you are going to meet your maker tonight. So we can't have police that are delivering roses. It's not the job of the police to criminals. Police must shoot to kill hardcore, dangerous criminals. So people know, in a literal sense, crime doesn't pay. Why are we no longer having a police visibility on the off-ramps and on-ramps? There is a year where there was huge police visibility in the whole of Gauteng, where we went 1 December without one case in transit and without a mall being robbed. Because every turn we saw police. All of us are going to leave now to our homes after this show. I can guarantee you are going to arrive home without seeing a single police vehicle on the road.
A quick question around foreign policy and whether you support the reform of the UN Security Council.
Absolutely. It's that structure has been there for quite some time, and the world has evolved over a period of time. And if that is the case, to have these guys who are permanent members of the Security Council because of what happened post the World War II, but there's been this huge development which include decolonization of Africa and doing away with apartheid and liberation of African countries. So when that Security Council was formed in that way, we were under these people who are in the Security Council. Now we are on our own. Why can't we get ourselves a permanent seat in the Security Council? But no one must have the veto powers. It must be a decision of the majority. That's how democracy works. This thing that we take a decision that there must be ceasefire in Palestine, and a Security Council follows through, America goes and veto the decision of the majority. It renders that institution useless. The simplest principle on such aspect is majority rule. Let Africa be permanent in the Security Council, and let the decisions of the Security Council be based on majority rule.
The EFF has been gaining some momentum in the continent. What's your plan in the continent as the EFF?
We want one Africa, one president, one parliament, one military command center, one currency that will be based on our minerals as the African continent. Ourselves and Zimbabwe alone account for not less than 85% of the world platinum. Imagine we become one thing and we hold our platinum and say we're determining the price now, like they do with the oil, those who have the oils, the Arabs and all of that. Although their oil is based on dollar, but they are benefiting out of it, and they've developed their countries based on their natural resources. So we need one Africa, and we must speak in one voice. That's how the Security Council is going to respect us. That's how China is going to respect us. How can Swaziland go and negotiate with China and say we are equal to China? Swaziland, Lesotho, Botswana, on the basis of what? Size matters in politics, and the more we come together, the more the world will respect us.
The EFF is suggesting that there must be a constitutional review, and that you're saying you need to remove the powers of the president for laws to be passed in Parliament. Explain that.
No, we want to amend the powers of the president, amongst others. Why should the president appoint a public prosecutor, NDPP, National Director of Public Prosecution? Bato is appointed by Cyril. Cyril is found with dollars under the mattress. He says, no, it was a trade. He even produces invoices. That's fine. But no one is allowed in South Africa to trade with foreign currency. Not even diamond walk. Imagine a farm in Villa. Diamond walk. You can't go there with $1 and buy anything. Not in South Africa. So all of that is in the open. But the person who appointed you, now you must arrest that person. So Parliament must appoint NDPP. And the laws must be initiated and finalized by Parliament and not wait for the executive. And we need to amend Section 25 of the Constitution to make expropriation of land without compensation explicit. They say, no, the law as is clear. Okay, no problem. If it's clear, let's make it more explicit. They don't want, because they know that law doesn't allow expropriation without compensation.
You're concerned about, this is not new for you, you're concerned about the independence of the judiciary?
Absolutely.
Just expand on that.
You know, I know what the judiciary can do. You know, I was rescued. I was politically persecuted, and I was rescued by an independent judiciary. Those men and women in the Pretoria North refused to be co-opted into a political agenda to pursue a certain individuals. We cannot have that. And unfortunately, the Chief Justice has compromised this judiciary, and he has become part of the dinner table, and he's saving the president. So we can't have a section like the Western Cape High Court wanting to behave like exactly what those people want to do, as if they are not part of what we are trying to do, and they are anti anything transformation. So we need an independent judiciary.
Chief Justice compromised. How has the Chief? You were speaking about the Chief Justice. I want you to expand on.
The Chief Justice got 2 votes when we were appointing a Chief Justice. He got 2 votes. They were appointing a Chief Justice. He got 2 votes.
Yes.
She has always been a relevant and proper candidate. This one, 2 votes, but also in the bench, he was left with 2 years. And that position is 7 years. And Maya was going to give us uninterrupted 7 years. Mm-hmm. We said to him, why are you doing the things you are doing? Because you know you are leaving. He said, no, I'm coming in. I'm going to change the judiciary. He's leaving now. He hasn't changed anything except to call press conferences and be in the public and enjoy meetings with the president. He never missed an opportunity to engage the president and be with the president. And as a result, we are unable to see, because it's not only done, it must be seen as an independent judiciary. What does he do? He takes Zuma to court, and then they take Zuma to jail on non-existing laws, that Zuma is going to jail on contempt of court on civil matter without a trial, without listening to what Zuma did. We don't care whether we agree with Zuma or not, but you must stop it there at Zuma. If you don't stop it, Zuma is coming to us. And that is the compromise. The Zuma matter was a fundamental compromise of the independence of our judiciary. But I'm happy now he has nominated Maya, and we hope that she will restore the good image of the judiciary. I know what those guys can do when they are informed and they follow the law, not the political dynamics. Those guys know what they are doing. Our country needs that, especially at the moment where we are now.
I want a caller to have the last word.
Awesome.
Mandisa, are you calling from Ireland, as in Ireland, the country?
Yes.
Hi, welcome. Go ahead, Mandisa.
Hello, my name is Mandisa. Yabulisa Kuwe, my president.
Hello, Mandisa.
President, I have 2 questions only. President, I'm from the Eastern Cape, the most useless province in South Africa, led by a Barbie doll. My question is, President, is in South Africa, in the Eastern Cape, in South Africa, the first black president is coming from the Eastern Cape. Second black president is coming from the Eastern Cape. The mother of the nation is coming from the Eastern Cape. Combat Christian is coming from the Eastern Cape, but we don't have nothing to show. So my question is, when you take over after the 29th of May, unazona plans zokwenza Eastern Cape the tourist province. And second thing, my province and my president, the favorite president in South Africa. So, you see the killings that you talk about in KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. That's what is happening, my president, in the Eastern Cape. So I just want to know, again, when you take over, how you're going to handle the crime in the villages, my leader.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if it was a curse to the people of Eastern Cape, because they gave us the best as a country, not only post-1994, even before. And 1994 comes, and then Eastern Cape just becomes a rotten place. No development at all. You want mud schools, you go to Eastern Cape. You want pit toilets, you go to the Eastern Cape. You want a place where you are going to drive for more than 2 hours without a tar road, you go to the Eastern Cape. So it's just a mess. You remember when this guy was trying to be president of the ANC from KZN, Zweli Mkhize, went to launch scooter ambulances in the Eastern Cape where there are no roads. Imagine you are in an ambulance, it goes like this and you are sick, it's bumpy. So you can see it has become a playground. We owe the people of Eastern Cape a huge apology and recommit ourselves to do what our forefathers said we'll do to them. Develop that place to be the best of the best provinces. It has got a potential. Why is East London not a tropical city like Durban and Cape Town? Because it has got almost the same natural resources as the others. Because what makes a city is two things. It's natural resources, mountains, rivers, a sea and all of that, and then the mineral resources. Gauteng didn't have that, but it had gold. That's why it became what it is. So it's important that the people of Eastern Cape get a priority. It's a playground, that place, where a premier fakes masters, and then is taken to court. SIU says, we're going to investigate you. Your masters is fake. Then he interdicts an investigation. I mean, if you come to me now and say my honors is fake, I don't have to say anything. I never honored myself. I was honored by the university. I didn't give myself an honors. I don't have to respond. The university must respond. Because once you say his honors is fake, you are saying the university is engaged in corrupt activities. The university never defended the premier, because they knew they never issued such a masters. So it's a playground for wrongdoing. And you know what is painful is that the people of Eastern Cape continue to vote for those people in huge numbers. And this time around, we have to make sure we do a real work in the Eastern Cape. KZN killings, you know, the biggest problem of KZN and its killings is access to guns. Now, the guns were sent to KZN by the apartheid regime.
Yes.
You see the way the trucks are queuing to Richards Bay to take coal. There were trucks queuing like that, sending weapons into the KZN. Those weapons were never recovered.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so they have access to firearms with ease. In Sishiu, we don't have access to firearms. If the biggest weapon we have is Okapi or something, will stab you, what. But firearm we've never seen. No one has ever claimed to know guns. Yeah. Because it was a deliberate military action. How do you resolve it? You need to resolve it militarily. We need to get the army into a KZN unannounced National Search Day. The army, the police, we attack it, we get into houses, Indian, white, colored, African, we don't care. We look for this. Why? Mandela said, throw them into the sea. Not a single gun was thrown into the sea. We will never resolve that killing in KZN if there is no military operation to go and recover those guns. But lastly, because these were procured by apartheid government, the South African National Defence Force somehow should be having receipts of what kind of armaments were sent into KZN. And these guns, they were not only given to the IFP. The ANC was a killer the same way as the IFP. Not one of them will claim to be more peaceful than they were killed, they killed. Then they retreated, gave the hostels the firearms. We need to go and raid that in the hostels and recover these firearms. Because in the hostels, they don't do it the way, they don't kill each other in the hostels, but they get procured to go and kill other people. They are called nkabis. They are taken from a hostel to go and kill other. When access to firearms that were put amongst our people by the apartheid government, it's a source of killing in KZN and can be resolved militarily because it was a military action.
Mr. Malema, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through. Really appreciate it.